But guys, this is What If Season 2, Episode 8, titled What If the Avengers Assembled in 1602? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When I first saw this, I was like, I don't want to see this. This seems kind of weird. I don't want to see them in 1602. What the hell? But it was fun though. Captain Carter tries to undo the anomaly that strands familiar heroes and villains in 1602. You guys let me know what y'all thought about this episode as well. But we got all the Avengers together, and this is where the ending of episode 5 makes sense. It was Black Widow and Peggy Carter together, and Scarlet Witch steals her away, and we get to see why. Now, at the beginning of this episode, there are portals in the sky, rifts in the sky that are opening up green and stealing people away. And initially, the first time I saw it, I was like, "What is going on? Who is doing this right here?" What like, and to my understanding, I think it was Supreme Strange doing it, taking people away. It's interesting, but you guys let me know. Um, Gwendolyn says, "This was my least favorite." Why is that, Gwendolyn? "This was great. Loki had me dying." Yeah, Loki did have me dying. I did like the spin of some of the characters though, like Steve being Robin Hood, right? Excuse me, and some of the spin of other characters, but still my least favorite of them. Loki was hilarious in this. And so, what also confuses me is, like, when Loki was getting sucked up into the rift in the sky, it was Captain Carter that jumped to save the day, and then when Hela got sucked up into the rift, it was Captain Carter that saved the day. Even Thor himself was like, "You're up." No, that was, Nick Fury was like, "Hey, Captain, you're up." Why was nobody else there, have the abilities to go and rescue people floating in the sky? Can't Thor fly? I mean, maybe he didn't wanna get sucked up either. I mean, I don't know, they just I know that they captured her to for help, but it's just like, why? You have so many other powerful characters. It's just weird, you know? So, Gwendolyn, if you say this is your least favorite, I don't blame you. Um, but it at least was choreographed quite nice. I did like that. But what I also liked is, of course, we got a lot of Jeffrey Wright in here as the Watcher. I love the fact that he was actually able to communicate with Peggy Carter as well. He's narrating, and she's like, "You know, I can hear you, right?" So that was pretty cool right there too. I like that kind of, breaking of the fourth wall a little bit. And he was honest, like, I mean, his job has to really suck. You know, he just like sometimes all of these universes just meant to die. So he just sits back and watches trillions of people dying every day. That's his day job. He can't do nothing. He just gotta watch it and have mental notes and stuff. But he's like, "Hey, let me you don't belong here. Okay, let me take you back to your universe. And this is too much going on that I know you don't understand." She's like, "No, my timeline and this timeline is smushed together. You gotta unsmush 'em." He's like, "Impressive." He's like, "Look, you don't gotta worry about it though. This not your fight." And she's like, "But still, I'm here. Let me do what I can." I like her character for that. Thor was lazy. Yeah, he was. It was entertaining, but not as good as some of the others. I got you. I got you. But now Scarlet Witch is just saying, "Hey, even my abilities, I can't figure this out, but we got this forerunner here. He will be able to tell where all of these rifts in the sky are coming from and why our universe is falling apart." Again, I just think that's Stephen Strange doing that, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Yeah, the Watcher story, origin story is tragic. I don't even know the Watcher's origin story. Y'all let me know. But again, while this episode was entertaining, it was just weird, man, just seeing all of these people that live in 1602, it's just like, why? Like, if you were just to read the title of the show, of this episode, it would have made more sense to me if, yeah, you had Avengers that was in 1602, but it was a completely different, batch of characters that we never heard of, like These were the people that was actually alive during that time that had to come together to stop the evil force. But that's just me, though. And did y'all like Tony Stark in this right here? He was still smart. He was able to build a thing at the end. He's just like, "Oh, man, I've never heard of these words before, arc reactor and flux capacitor." He was getting a little kick out of that. I liked that. That was kinda funny. That was kinda cool. Heard of a device that can power, I don't know, I think he said like 10 motherships or something like that. And that's where we get Bucky Barnes, Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier, and Steve Rogers is back as Captain Hood or Rogers Hood, you know what I'm saying? Section 8. I did like Hogan in this one too. He was funny to me. He was funny to me. It was funny to me. Now, I can't remember who said it earlier, but there was like, the Steve and the the Steve and the, Peggy Carter romance thing did get a bit annoying. Every time they see each other, they're looking at each other's eyes like, "Oh my god, I love you, babe." That was funny. That was funny. And Long Live Chris is snacking on some Cheetos. I just saw that. That's what's up right there. But, they hightail it out of there, and they having some drinks and all that. But I will say though, let me see, how did Bucky have that arm back in 1602? That's a good question. How did they have everything in this episode, Quinlan? You're not wrong, you're right. How did they have the shrinking technology? How was Happy still able to transform into the Hulk? How did Stark build the machine that he did? I mean, Ant-Man is shrinking, with the Pym particles, you have the Yellow Jacket shrinking in here. I don't know. This season 2 was good. Some of it was great. Some of it didn't make any darn sense, but it was still entertaining. Divine Existence, this episode was confusing, but it made complete sense in the end. Excuse me, it was confusing, but I wanna hear your commentary on how it made sense in the end because I still don't know how it made sense to me, and I would love your explanation. Yeah, I was wondering about that too. I love the Romeo and Juliet theme. Okay, I got you, I got you. Strange did all of this, I believe. Yeah, I think it was Strange that was making the riffs in the sky. I think it was him. I could be wrong, but I think it was him. I think it was him. But what made this episode great though, was it was some badass choreography and fighting with the swords, with the shield. I think this is the first time we saw Peggy Carter with the shield and the sword too, so I dug it. I did like that part. I did like that part a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. Definitely strange. Yeah, they did the homework as far as the fighting and all that. And it's nice to see Peggy and Steve fight back to back as well, you know? And another thing that's interesting is he was still adoring her because his version of her died in that timeline, but he should have known, like, "Okay, you're not my woman. I still love you, you look the same, but you're not mine." But he was kinda treating her like she was the same person. Now I forgot the name of this creature here, this robot, this figure from Asgard that showed up as well. Was it called the Destroyer or something like that? I can't remember it, but it was from Asgard in Thor 1, and his whole face turns to fire, he be blasting stuff out. What is that character's name? It's not even a character, it's not a s well, it's not necessarily a sentient being, but more like a robot cyborg type thing. He almost blasts Ant-Man in the face a number of times. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about, though. I just can't think of his name, but, yeah, this episode was all over the place as far as does it make sense or not, you know? A lot of it didn't, but, it was still entertaining, though. And so Peggy gets locked up for no reason, the Watcher comes in. Are you watching right now? Yeah, yeah, his version was based on Maid Marian. Yeah, that's right, that's right. And, Peggy breaks out of there. I have to fight. And the Watcher telling her like, "Hey, chill again, this is not your fight. I can take you back to your universe," you know? And, she breaks out of there and she gets the Hulk out of there too. And I do like this version of the Hulk. She rides him on the back like he's a horse or something like that. But they get the plan, and Tony Stark, he has his little magical machine. They're like, "Hey, we gotta get the scepter. We gotta get the time stone to power this up. It can find the Forerunner and get your boy out of here." And so that is interesting to me right there. But they're at the banquet here, and then again, while nothing made sense, this is still entertaining while he's fighting it, these fights. Now, I thought when Steve punched the Thanos time stone, everything went crazy and tossed everyone in the past. Apparently, that's what happened. Apparently, that is what happened. Um, because I was going to address that, you know. Now, how did y'all feel about, Hogan? Did y'all think it was silly when Hogan got mad because his feather got cut off and then he turned into the Hulk, and then he fought the Hulk? I think the Hulk shoulda just destroyed him. Maybe got a little leaky in the tooth, gave him a little hard time, been annoying, but, the original Hulk should have, just destroyed his ass, know, but I'm not mad at that. I also think it was pretty cool the weapon that Thor had as well. He had a sword made out of vibranium, and I forgot the name of the weapon that they called it, and Loki up there being silly as well, but I'm trying to see what is the name of this weapon that Thor has, 'cause I liked it. Hand over the scepter. So this dude got this scepter that he didn't even use really, and this vibranium sword. Oh, it's vibranium. A coronation gift from the king of Wakanda. Yeah, I'd rather have that. Now, Gwendolyn, would you rather have Thor's vibranium sword, or you still want them 10 rings? Oh, no, I still want them 10 rings, though. Them 10 rings are quite nice. No. But I am not mad at, Scarlet Witch for, like, "Look, man, I can't hold this little blade, this little rift open no more." They're trying to help give him the scepter so we can make this machine work. You know what I'm saying? Now, earlier in this live stream, I complained because I thought that episode 3 was a little bit too goofy when it came to Darcy and their dire need of trying to survive, but that was kind of the case here as well with Tony Stark because he's like, "Excuse me, I'm walking." I'm just like, "Okay, no jokes. Chill out." The Ebony Blade? I don't think it's called the Ebony Blade. I could be wrong, though. Yes, they do need to recast T'Challa. Big time. The rings, I can do more with them than the sword. Right on. Gwendolyn, yeah, me and Gwendolyn, yeah, we right here. We're right here. But Tony, he gets they get the scepter, they get the time stone, puts it in his machine, and makes Peggy Carter activate it. And we find out that Steve Rogers is the forerunner. I was saying to myself, bro, why didn't you say this a long time ago? That you were the one that's making a mess. But you're right, Divine Existence, when they go back to Avengers Infinity War, that is why everybody appeared there. Because when he button on the device that they made, everybody disappears there and just go something goes back to the normal timeline, and Peggy is the only one left there. She's at the bar, "Oh, I miss Steve, I miss my baby. We're never gonna have our private moment. Oh my god." She thinks the watch is coming up behind him, but no, it's Stephen Strange, Scream Strange, like, "Hey, I got a story to tell you." So this is the 3rd time that Stephen Strange pops up. I'm like, "Hell yeah." Now, at first, when I saw this episode, I thought that was the end of the season because it said "to be continued." So when I looked again and we had another episode coming, I was like, "Hell yeah, I like that." That could have been the Ebony Blade and got that could have been the Ebony Blade got bringing the Midnight Suns Easter egg. Maybe, maybe. But guys, that is season 2 of What If, episode 8. I don't know, What If the Avengers assembled in 1602? Let me know if you liked it, if you hated it, or you're somewhere in between via the chats, via the comment section, whether you're watching this via live or via the replay.